Washington, I'm Laura Ingram, and this is the Ingram Angle. We begin, of course, with that blockbuster news. President Trump proves the experts wrong again and scores a stunning diplomatic triumph. The president has accepted an invitation to meet with the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. South Korea's national security advisor made the announcement this evening at the White House. He credited Trump's leadership and the maximum pressure he applied to North Korea for creating this breakthrough. Well, that flies in the face of critics who scorched Trump as he engaged in a blunt war of words with Kim for many months.
Tweets like this essentially pour gasoline on that blaze. President Trump is goading Kim Jong-un to test a nuclear missile.
I do worry about what his boiling point might be in the face of some of these inflammatory tweets and statements that the president makes.
This is just how the snowball effect starts. Wars are very easy to get into, and it gets nasty really quickly.
None of this normal, none of this acceptable, none of this frankly stable behavior.
And none of that turned out to be true, Jake. Well, tonight, there's egg on a lot of faces after another stunning Donald Trump breakthrough. Let's discuss this dramatic event with Fox News national security and foreign affairs analyst Waleed Phares, Michael Pillsbury of the Hudson Institute, and Mike Fuchs, a senior fellow at the Center for American Progress. All right, Mike Fuchs, let's start with you. I was curious as to see how the left was going to cover this tonight, because they're all on, Stormy Daniels, or on their, usual policies and stories of resistance. But this really is something. We'll see what ultimately happens. But the Huffington Post homepage has like a mock, Trump and a mock Kim Jong-un, I guess, from the Olympics, two impersonators. That's the best they could do.
Well, look, this is a great step forward. The diplomacy that President Trump has signaled the U.S. is willing to do with North Korea is the right step. This is the direction that many people have been calling on President Trump to take for more than a year now, and I'm happy to see that he's done it.
But he got there because he talked tough. He didn't get there because he played patty cake with Kim Jong-un. He said, you come near this country with a nuclear weapon, we will destroy you. That's basically what he said. And all the people on the left were like, how do you do this? You're going to thermonuclear war. What are you doing? And they were going crazy with that one tweet about I have a nuclear button. They went nuts on that. But maybe that's the madman theory, correct, Michael Pillsbury? I mean, you've been writing about this for decades, and I know you're very skeptical because, like me, you've seen North Korea pull a fast one on like this before. But what do you think so far?
Well, it's time to celebrate a great victory when it happens. And you're quite right, just in the last 2 hours, the mainstream left-wing media has been beside themselves. And this really can't be happening, or they don't really know how to explain it. It wasn't purchased. There's no concessions. The American exercises can continue for the next 2 months. The entire set of conventional assumptions about North Korea has gone out the window.
You see that? A series of sound bites by I love calling it the experts. The experts. The experts said. The experts predicted. Here's some headlines. USA Today. Analysis. How Trump's nuclear button tweet could jeopardize his foreign policy. Newsweek. Will Trump and Kim's game of nuclear chicken blow up the world? New Republic. This is not a North Korean crisis. It's a Trump crisis. Wally, take it away.
Look, the critics have focused on the president's tweets. What they have missed is everything else. They did not see that the task forces were surrounding North Korea. They did not see that we're putting pressure on China, that we're mobilizing Japan and South Korea, that we are winning the game at the United Nations Security Council, even with Russia and China not vetoing a resolution against North Korea. It was well crafted, but they missed the big game.
Michael Fuchs, do you believe that the president will meet Kim Jong-un here in the United States? Will they meet in Seoul? If you had to guess right now where they would end up meeting? I mean, this is going to be wild if the meeting actually ends up going forward.
Well, look, I think that is actually the big question right now. Does this meeting actually happen? Some senior officials from the White House have already refused to state when exactly
before May
might actually happen, but Press Secretary Sarah Sanders did not say. She said time to be determined. And so I think the big question now is, what is the plan? We have done a complete 180 from talk of potential war and military conflict
but that was to get him at the table. That was
to a summit meeting. And so I do think that the real question now is, what is the North Korean game here, and what strategy does the United States have to actually extract real concessions from the North
Well, I think we've already extracted some concessions, Michael Pillsbury. I mean, we had Madeleine Albright clinking champagne glasses with Kim Jong-il. We had George W. Bush do his best. We had Barack Obama, John Kerry show diplomacy. Nothing came of it, except North Korea got farther and farther along with its nuclear program. Russia and China both acting as semi-proxies in North Korea, sending technology, food, supplies, fuel. Most of that, not all of that, was shut down, and President Trump pushed hard against the Chinese. You wrote the book about the 100-year marathon about China. How does China play in here?
I think they're equally surprised as we are that Rocket Man, that's his old name, we probably shouldn't use that anymore.
He was a big John fan, I understand, Kim Jong-un, so he took it as a compliment. He was called Rocket Man.
The Chinese didn't help very much, but they helped a little. So they're going to try and take credit for this as much as they can. I think this whole plan began during the transition. I think it's been well thought out. President Trump, when he was campaigning, did not make North Korea his number one issue. He did it after the transition. And I must say that according to the press, Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis was very nervous and cautious. Tillerson was always trying to...
They were nervous in Ellie's. Trump's like, I got it. Don't worry, man. They were very nervous about this whole thing. Well, I've got to say, the president made it clear to his advisors that the way we had been going about this for decades wasn't working. And he made it clear to them, the reporting tonight, that we wanted a new path forward. Give me the options. How can we break this old path and pave a new way forward? And at least so far, it seems like there's been some success.
What I understand, Laura, is that the essence of this plan is to let the North Koreans feel that they are completely isolated, that even the Chinese are not going to help them, nor the Russians. As I said, on the Security Council, they were not even able to get any vote for them. But there is a missing point we are not seeing in here, is what the North Koreans and the South Koreans have already spoken about. And the messenger, the National Security Advisor of South Korea, who announced this message, he most likely will brief the administration about what is laying ahead.
And Michael Fuchs, when you look at where we've come from in this North Korean issue, it's been one of the most intractable diplomatic, national security, geopolitical challenges the country's ever had. I said during the campaign, Michael Pillsbury, I know you did too, that North Korea was the biggest problem. It wasn't Iran, it wasn't Iraq or Afghanistan.
It wasn't climate change.
It wasn't climate change. It was North Korea. Purely for the fact that you don't know this guy. This guy seems like a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but he has nuclear weapons. And you destabilize that region, China gets involved again. We're back in a war in the Korean Peninsula, and you know that's not going to end well for anybody. But this is intractable. Trump, I mean, it's madman theory. I mean, if I'm a madman, you don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, maybe it is the madman theory.
Well, look, I think that this, again, is really the big question, and we have to be very clear-eyed about what can be realistically achieved here with North Korea because of decades of really difficult experience with North Korea and getting tried, getting played many times over with the North Koreans. So we need to be very clear-eyed about what can be achieved with diplomacy, which is why I asked the question, what is the Trump administration's strategy now with this?
I don't think they're going to tell the Center for American Progress what the strategy is, but Michael, Bill, I don't think they'll tell any of us. But Michael, what are the pitfalls here? You've written about this extensively. Yes. Give me some advice for the president and his team going into this situation.
Well, they need to understand what the North Koreans are up to. I think they do. I have a lot of confidence in President Trump's team. But the main thing is the negotiations while they go on, which could be a year or two, will result in a freeze of both nuclear tests and missile tests.
Got to happen.
So now time is on our side.
So get it right.
Yes.
Don't rush it to a conclusion. Get it right. Gentlemen, fantastic panel. You guys all came in at the last minute, and we really, really appreciate it. And by the way, speaking of the People's Republic, we're going to take a look at California's radical transformation from a golden state of unlimited promise to a sanctuary state harboring violent criminals. That's next in The Angle.